truly maximum office scents. Hey Fragrance family, I'm David and I'm a Fragrance Bro, of course your best source for everything fragrance related. Today I have a video that is on truly magnificent, very great, optimal, maximal office scents. And these are actually good. Now I have a lot here, so I'm not gonna go over all of these. I have a lot of reviews of these, and if I have reviews of these, I'll put links down below in the video description. And you can also just search for them if you want to check. Now the term office scent can mean something different to everyone, but the way that I define it is something that is very inoffensive, that is easy to wear, something that usually lasts around the 6 to 8 hour range, and something that's not really going to be considered sexy or too formal or too dense. Now even within that kind of strict guideline, there's a lot of room for interpretation, so there's a lot of spectrum here. But I have about 15 represented here, both very cheap and very expensive. So let's go ahead and get straight to it. All right, so the first few here are gonna be cheapies that are easily found for around $30 or so, or less. The first one is Curve by Liz Claiborne. I don't really talk about this one much on the channel, but this is one that I've always loved ever since high school. And it's a fantastic scent that is a very woody, musky type of scent. It doesn't get a lot of play in the fragrance community, which is kind of a shame, but I understand why. It's an old fragrance, and it's not the new kid on the block anymore, but it's still fantastic. I have a friend who wears this a lot, and he sometimes apologizes to me because he knows that I'm a fragrance critic, but he doesn't need to because I think this is still a fantastic fragrance. It's also a great price, and it's great for the office. Next is the original John Varvatos, and this is kind of in the realm of Armani Code. So it's powdery, it's somewhat leathery, somewhat spicy, somewhat sweet, very good and great for an office scent. Next is Dolce & Gabbana Intenso, and I really like this fragrance. This is a very interesting fragrance from Dolce & Gabbana. To me, this has almost like a really nice room smell. It's a little difficult to explain, and it has a lot of different notes in there. I get kind of a fruity, woody, musky type of scent. In some ways, it reminds me of Curve, but more fruity and watery. But I really like this scent. It smells great in a lot of different places, but it works great in the office, I think. Next is Prada Luna Rosa, and I love this one. This is one of my favorite scents to wear on the casual side, and I think this works well in an office setting as well. But it's very inoffensive, very clean and fresh. Prada does that really well. It has lavender and mint and citrus. It's a great scent, and it might not be a compliment getter, but it's one of those under the radar scents in the office, meaning that someone will smell it and they might not think it's a cologne, which may be a good thing depending on where you work. All right, now let's go up a bracket in price to more of a mainstream category, around the $100 mark. And first we'll start with Dior Homme. Now this one can be used for a lot of different situations, and even though it's been around for a long time, it's still on the different side. So I do think it works well in the office if you spray lightly, and if you have an office that's kind of open to those ideas. So yeah, Dior Homme is fantastic with iris and kind of that lipstick cocoa tonka vibe. It's great. Next is Dior Homme Cologne, one of my favorites from Dior. It's a fantastic citrus scent, very, very citrusy, also with some orange blossom in there. It's a really nice, soft citrus scent with really round edges. Sometimes citruses can be hard and piercing, and this has none of those. It's just like a really well worn in type of citrus scent that is beautiful. And the orange blossom really brings out some of those softer qualities. Because of that, it has a little bit of a clean and soapy connotation. Even though it's not really soapy, it can kind of have that association a little bit, which is why I think it works great in the office. It's a magnificent scent, and I think it's kind of an upgrade to Versace Man Eau Fraiche. If you like that one, check this one out. All right, next is Guerlain Homme, and I've heard rumors that this is discontinued, and I cannot verify if that's true or not, but you can still find this on resellers' sites, so definitely check this one out. This one is a scent that is supposed to be reminiscent of a mojito. It does have a mojito type of vibe with lime and mint, and it adds some patchouli in there as well. It's really great. It is very, very classy. And sophisticated, I think, very fruity, and it's wonderful. There's also a Guerlain Homme Intense version, which I think is also very good too. I just really like the original one better. All right, no list is complete without Loam by Yves Saint Laurent. Loam is one of the quintessential office scents, and it is so superb as that particular roll. And I think it does work well in other situations too, but especially for the office, it's fantastic. It's very, very pleasant and appealing, and it's not out there at all. It's just really nice and well-rounded. Has notes of ginger and vetiver and violet and kind of an apple-like accord in there as well. It's just perfect. All right, speaking of perfect, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver Eau de Parfum is perfect, and it is perfect for the office. Now this does have vetiver in there, which sometimes can be a little earthy and too grassy and a little pungent in some blends, but Grey Vetiver really tames it down a lot with some other notes in there. And I think there's some iris in there, and there's some other notes in there like pimento and floral components that really soften it up and make it very classy, wearable, and very, very pleasant. This is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. It's that good. So definitely check this one out for the office. All right, next we're gonna go up a bracket again in price, and we're gonna go into more boutique fragrances here. The first one we're gonna go to is Oh Unknown by Imaginary Authors. I have a little travel sprayer here, but they have full-size bottles of this available, obviously. Oh Unknown is a tea-based fragrance with iris and some woody notes in there, and it's fantastic. It's very, very easy to wear. And it's not super strong, which I think is really great for that purpose. It's great in the fall as well. And I think that if you're in the office, especially in the fall, there's almost no better fragrance for the fall in the office than Oh Unknown. It's really good. And as far as Imaginary Authors fragrances, I think that this one is more on the unknown side. No pun intended. Next is YVRA 1958, the original version. Now I actually have the flanker to that one, which is L'Essence de Présence. This one is different than the original, though it has some of the same DNA, but I just wanted to show you the bottle real quick. The original version though is really what I'm suggesting because it is great. It's one of the most perfect clean scents. Really easy to wear. Again, another kind of under the radar clean scent that is a little soapy, very clean, very classy and elegant. It's just an amazing scent. The original 1958 was a success on Kickstarter and it's been a great hit, I think, for that brand. The creator of the brand, Evo, has just an incredible career, very classy and refined, an amazing Instagram, and has really great taste. And that comes through and shines in his fragrances. Both of them are great. I think the L'Essence de Présence could also be a work scent in some situations. It's just a little bit more woody, but the original version is really what I'm suggesting because that one is perfect for the office. Next one is Kunak by Yosh, which is a fantastic, classy scent. Whew, my goodness. This one is one of the richest smelling scents, I think, in the bunch. It just smells so luxurious and classy. There is apple, vetiver, leather. It's not overbearing in the way that it smells. It's not pungent, and it's not too strong in the performance either. I think it just sits in this perfect middle range here. It's just really amazing. Kunak. Next is Odjian by Annick Goutal, which is one of the best citrus scents out there, I think. It smells a lot like fizzy lemonade in some ways. It has kind of that sparkly essence to it, very, very lemony, and then it dries down into this cypress, musky, and still citrusy base. Just smells wonderful. It is a classic, and for good reason. There's a few different versions, but I think the Eau de Parfum is the best version, and it still doesn't last a whole long time, but I think that is okay in the office setting because it's not too powerful. Great for the office. Next is Vetiver Fatale by Atelier Cologne. Almost anything by Atelier Cologne is useful in the office. It all sits in that perfect projection and performance range where it's not offensive. Almost all the fragrances are very clean and beautiful and really great citrus-based scents. And this one is a little different. This one is vetiver, obviously, but there's more to it than that. There's citrus in there, of course, because it's a Cologne-based house. Also plum and some cedar in there. And what it makes is kind of this dark, fresh scent. And sometimes that is hard to do. Sometimes darker scents go in the heavier route with their fragrances and go in the woody, ambery, musky route. This one doesn't. This one stays in the cologne realm, but still is fresh and clean while also being not bright. It's very interesting and has almost a somber feeling about it, but it's still perfect in the office because it is very pleasant and pleasing. And though you won't get a lot of compliments from it, it's perfect as just smelling nice in the office without having to smell like a traditional cologne or soap or anything. It's very different, but still really good. And of course I had to add a Creed in here, and I went with green Irish tweed in this case over Aventus, though I think Aventus would work. I just definitely prefer Creed as an everyday wear for the office. I think it has much more of a pleasant type of scent without being too sexy or powerful like Aventus can be. As you can see, I've used a lot of this already because it's one of my favorite fragrances of all time. Probably the favorite fragrance of all time. It's that good. But you all know what green Irish tweed smells like. If you haven't smelled it, you can smell cool water and you can get about 60% there. It's very similar to cool water, but just better. And it's still the king, I think, of fresh office sophisticated scents. It's wonderful. It's green and clean and musky and floral and grassy. It's everything. It's just perfect. With that, I'd like to thank my sponsor, Fragrance X. Fragrance X is an online retailer that sells thousands of legitimate fragrances for a discounted price. If you're considering buying a fragrance, definitely check out Fragrance X. I'll have a link down below to them as well as a coupon. So that is all I have for truly, wonderfully, amazingly, powerfully, maximally perfect, actually good office scents. What's your favorite office scent? Let me know down in the comments down below. What's your favorite? Thanks again, everyone, for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm Dave with the Fragrance Bros. Bye.